Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today for our wastewater treatment plant input meeting. My name is Chaz Green, and I'm the Director of Public Works for the City of York, and I will be the moderator for today's meeting. First, going to start off with going over the agenda, and as follows. I'm going to talk a little bit about the RFP process, where we began and where we're at currently. Following me, we'll have the Pennsylvania Economy League, and following them, we'll have Pennsylvania American Water Company. After the presentations are completed, we will have time for public comment for everyone to hop on the Zoom. If you're on telephone, please make sure that you hit *9 if you have a question, so you can raise your hand. Um, so, all right. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about the wastewater system components. All right, the wastewater treatment plant consists of various buildings, tanks, pipes, and other equipment. Um, Give me 1 second here, I'm sorry. All right, equipment located at the complex just off the intersection of Route 30 and Interstate 83. All right, the interceptors are the pipes that convey sewage flow from the interconnected municipalities to the wastewater treatment plant and includes 65,000 linear feet of sewer main ranging in size from 8 to 72 inches in diameter and the age from 10 to 55 years old. All right, the collection system encompasses the pipes that convey sewage flow from the homes and businesses within the city and is comprised of 489,000 linear feet of sanitary sewer pipe, ranging from 6 to 27 inches in diameter and ranging in age from 10 to 90 years old. The collection system also includes a one pump station. All right, the city, we began earnestly exploring the potential sale of the wastewater treatment plant in early 2020. Why, you ask? Market opportunity. Recent legislative changes, Act 12 of 2016, removed prior restrictions on buyers' ability to pay market value of the public waters and sewer assets. Long-term debt relief. Sale proceeds from the market value transition can provide game-changing structural debt relief and alleviate future tax burdens. So now we talk about operational efficiencies. Known capital expenditures for the wastewater treatment plant total approximately $44 million over the next 5 years. The city's collection system infrastructure also requires significant capital investment, as 86% of the city's collection system consists of clay or brick pipes installed before 1950. Existing cost projections do not reflect significant potential of new environmental compliance obligations. Sale to the large utility operator will provide opportunity to spread costs over a broader customer base. The city issued a public RFP for sale of the wastewater treatment plant on July 10th, 2020. The RFP was open to all interested parties. Our four respondents that were deemed qualified to bid were the York Water Company, Aqua Pennsylvania, Next Era Energy, and Pennsylvania American Water. Bids were received from respondents on December 9th, 2020. Qualifying respondents were invited to submit best and final purchase price proposals on December 17th, 2020. Proposals from all respondents included the following commitments and required by the city's RFP. There will be a 3-year freeze on retail rate increases. Recognition of labor union and employment offers for all city staff assigned to sewer system. Continue physical customer service offices within the city of York. The city's bid review committee recommended that the city select Pennsylvania American Water Company's bid to purchase a wastewater system for $235 million. PAWC's proposal includes an advance deposit of at least $15 million, with the remainder of the purchase paid at the closing of the transaction. Next steps for the City of York. The bid reviews committee recommendation must be presented to City Council for approval. The recommendation will also be presented to the York City Sewer Authority Board. Both City Council and Authority Board review will occur in the first quarter of 2021. Additionally, the proposed transaction must be memorialized in an asset purchase agreement submitted to the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission, also known as PUC, for review and approval. PUC rules establish a 6-month review process, but for a variety of reasons, the actual review period can be shorter or longer. The sale would occur only after final PUC approval, which is anticipated to occur later in 2021. All right, and now we're going to take some time here to hear from the Pennsylvania Economy League.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Leanne Clayberger with the Pennsylvania Economy League. I'm the CEO of the Economy League. I have two folks with me today that are also going to participate. I have Steve Goldfield, who's a consultant who works with PEL, and then I have Jerry Cross, who is our Senior Research Fellow at the Economy League, to provide some remarks. This is just an overview of the key topics we'll discuss, including the possible strategies and approaches to the use of proceeds, as well as looking at the municipal versus regulated public utility ownership, some pros and cons, if you will. And then finally, we'll review the public engagement strategy that we are working with the city on to engage the public in the use of proceeds following a potential sale. Jerry, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Leanne. It's important to understand the thoughts behind the use of proceeds recommendations that will be developed through the public process. One-time proceeds are one-time. It means that they will not recur. So you have to be very careful how you use these, because every dollar you spend will not be replaced in the future. Therefore, it's really important to understand that you should not be using these for ongoing operating expenses. They should be used to reduce ongoing expenditures that are commitments of the city, or maybe deployed to produce ongoing revenue streams for the city to replace the need for tax increases. A lot of these deployments of the proceeds would reduce those costs that the city has committed to over the past decades. A lot of those are being paid currently by current tax dollars. And you could think of those as, for example, debt payments on loans for things that were purchased, and for pension payments for promises made to employees that serve the city and now have retired. Those are current expenses in your current budget. It's important that the use of proceeds will reduce these costs. So that will allow your current taxes and fees, the tax bill you pay today, will pay as much as possible for current services, so that you're buying what you get, you're paying for what you get during the budget year, and not simply using a lot of it for prior commitments as it is now. So when you look at the strategy that the process will engage on using these proceeds, you have to have a very long view. You have to realize that this is going to fundamentally change the city's financial structure. It's going to change the way the city budgets. You're going to have stable budgets because you'll have reduction in these growing legacy expenses, particularly pension. You'll have reduction in the cost of debt service. And that gives you a predictable, stable base, because you'll know your expenses will grow over time. The cost of employees, the cost of services and materials, they'll grow, but they'll be more under your control, as opposed to paying for past promises. And you'll be able to pay for the necessary expenses of running the city and providing services. So it's really important to have a truly long-term predictable budget, and not just use these proceeds for short-term budget relief for a few years, but to make meaningful change in the way the city budgets and spends money for current services. Part of that, I think, would be handled. There's further slides. I'd like to hand this off to Steve Goldfield, please.
Jerry. As Jerry said, Pell was retained to assess the overall long-term financial condition of the city and help it develop long-term financial strategies. But as we find in other municipalities that are contemplating the sale of a system like this, we know that the customers of the York system are interested in the impact on rates that the proposed transaction might have. So I want to spend a minute or two talking about that. Rates are going to go up on customers, whether there's a sale or not. As Chaz said earlier, there's a collection system, a conveyance system, and a treatment system, all of which have tens of millions of dollars each of infrastructure replacement and improvement needs. The system is aging. This is not just a phenomenon in York. This is a phenomenon, across the state and across the country. The system's going to need significant capital investment. With a regulated public utility like PA American, they're able to spread the cost of the improvements across a much larger base, their entire rate base. This would reduce the rate burden on users of the York system as compared with if York continues to own the system, where it would be spreading it across a smaller rate base and would have to recoup the costs of the infrastructure repair. PA American and other public utilities also enjoy economies of scale regarding purchases of the supplies and the capital improvements themselves. The regulated public utilities are permitted to earn a return. You know, we would say they can earn a profit, but only on the capital investments that they make in the system. So as such, you'll find that the regulated public utilities have an incentive to keep up with the capital needs and to keep up with new regulations coming out of Harrisburg and the federal government. So in the short term, if the city were to maintain the entire system, the city has calculated that a rate increase of around 41%, that is for the average user of 4,000 gallons in a month, an increase to about $51 per month would be necessary just to meet the short-term capital expenditures for the system. We know that the that the plant has a 5-year capital plan, but the conveyance system and the collection system are also going to need tens of millions of dollars. You've got what's called I&I, infiltration of stormwater into the system. This also is very common. We just worked in the city of Johnstown where they replaced their entire system due to terrible I&I. The Department of Environmental Protection has expressed some concern about the aging infrastructure in York. And this could be the first step towards, if there aren't significant additional capital investments, a consent order, a consent decree. There's regulatory risk if the municipality continues to own the system. So based upon the proposal from PA American, and Chaz alluded to this earlier, this was part of the RFP process. They're not going to propose to raise rates for customers of the York system for at least 3 years. At that time, when they do propose to raise rates for the York system, they have to go through a PUC approval process. The PUC must approve any rate increase. And both PA and American and the PUC are going to follow what is called a gradual increase path. They're not going to want to have rate shock. And so there will be an easing in of rate increases again, not until at least 3 years from now. The one other thing that's a nuance of the public utilities, although we understand that municipal utilities are able to charge this now, is something called a distribution system improvement charge. It's a fee that's separate from the rates that you usually see. That too would not be something that could be imposed by Pennsylvania American until they bring the City of York system into the PUC process. That's in order to earn money to replace the miles and miles of pipe that you heard, some of which is 75 years old, some of which is made out of brick, some of which is made out of clay. And again, this is very common across the Commonwealth, and the regulators would like to see a lot of these old pipes replaced. I'll turn it to you, Jerry.
Thank you, Steve. The public and the interested parties have to consider certain things when you're looking at this process and actually selling a system or doing something for the municipal aside and transferring it to private sector. And the citizens have to understand that future rate changes in sewers, whether they're municipal or regulatory, and the future tax increases that are necessary to fund their government, you have to look at those together. Those are both two sides of the same coin. You're getting municipal services. You're getting services paid for by either tax dollars or rates, whether they're, regardless of the provider. It's a cost of being a citizen and a resident of the city of York. A second consideration is if the sale is, in the absence of a sale or the use of proceeds, things will not change in this city. You still need to keep up with regulatory requirements. You still need to maintain the city's services. And the city has very few options other than the mechanism of sewer rates and property taxes and income taxes, which is the current system. and they would have to be increased by significant amounts, as was seen by the last budget discussion. Regardless of the wishes, you have to pay for services or you cut services. So the question that the public engagement process will try to answer and involve is, what's the best way to pay for current city services? What's the mix? And what's the best way to pay for the cost that the city owes to the things that have gone in the past, for the services provided by employees in the past under their pensions and retiree health care, by the loans of the infrastructure that was paid for, or just loans that were taken out to provide services in the past. So you really have to use this proceeds as a way to determine what's the best mix to pay for current city services with revenue. Thank you. And Leanne?
Thanks, Jerry. As Jerry alluded, one of the key questions is, what is the best way to pay for current city services? And related question is, what is the best use of proceeds from a potential sale? And the city is working on a public engagement strategy to involve and engage the community and key stakeholders of the York system in that process. I'm highlighting just a few key points from the public engagement strategy here. In addition to the 2 public information sessions today, there will be future public engagement sessions about the best way to use the proceeds to invest in the city of York. We'll also be putting together a community-based committee to review the use of proceeds. They'll be involved in workshops looking at deep dives into some of the complicated topics related to the sale and use of proceeds. Some of those topics include a deep dive into the city's debt and the strategy to reduce annual debt service expenses, a strategy to look and take a deep dive looking at the pension obligation that the city has, and also other post-employment benefits. This is the types of benefits that retirees receive in addition to their pension. So healthcare is a good example of that, perhaps. And then we'll also be looking at use of any additional proceeds that are left over once you've tackled those first 3 key categories, and what are the best practices for the long-term benefit of the city. So we will be engaging with the community-based committee, as well as meeting with key stakeholders and holding public information sessions to make sure that this information is available to the York public and stakeholders. In addition, we'll be having the ability to accept questions from the public. So an email has been set up dedicated to this particular process at wastewatersale@yorkcity.org. That is an email address that is a way for individuals or stakeholders to submit any key questions that they have about this process, about the use of proceeds, and so forth. Questions that come in through that, as well as through public information sessions and so forth, will be compiled and published on the city's website as an FAQ to answer any questions that emerge from key stakeholders. In addition, we'll be working with the local media to get information out through the various media channels in the city of York. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, PO, for your presentation. Now we'll hear from Pennsylvania American Water.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. I'm Mike Doran, president of Pennsylvania American Water, and with me today is Susan Sims Marsh. Susan wears many hats at Pennsylvania American, but 2 very important ones would be she has oversight for our customer advocacy and customer programs, which you're going to hear a little more about, which obviously are very, very important. And she is also our main liaison to the Pennsylvania Public Service Commission. As you heard a little bit about, and we'll go into some greater detail around the environment of being served by a utility that is regulated by the PUC. There are protections built in there, and obviously there's value, and we'd like to review that with you. Wish I was presenting in person. We truly believe that building relationships, building trust and confidence is better served by face-to-face, but we do understand the current environment and support this safer approach in regards to communicating with the public. What we would like to achieve today is to just take a deeper dive in regards to who are we? And you're going to hear a lot about our history, some data and details about us. What are we focused on? But really, right out of the chute, I just want to be abundantly clear that Pennsylvania American would consider it a privilege if the York community would select us to be your wastewater provider. So on this slide, again, who are we? Pennsylvania American Water is the largest regulated public water and wastewater utility in Pennsylvania. We're headquartered in Mechanicsburg, like I said, about 25, 30 miles up Interstate 83. We have over 1,100 employees serving 2.4 million people, about 19% of the population, in about 36 counties. The map shows where we serve, where are we? The light blue shaded counties indicate where we provide water service only, and the darker blue shows where we provide both water and wastewater service. Next slide, please. There are a couple of things when you look at a utility and you gauge, are we serving customers? Are we successful? Are we doing our jobs? There are many areas that are important, but a couple that really stand out. And one would be, how do we treat customers? How do we interact with customers? How do we serve? A second piece of that is, are we qualified to do the job we're being asked to do? And you're going to hear more about the customer aspect, but in regards to the technical ability of Pennsylvania American Water, we absolutely do. We have decades of history. We currently own and operate 20 wastewater treatment plants throughout Pennsylvania in 13 counties. We have experience running large municipal and regional systems very similar to York, including Scranton, McKeesport, Coatesville. And actually, if you are not aware of it, we are in York County. We serve just over 4,100 customers in Fairview Township, again, just north of the city. What I would also like to point out, if you go back, please, on the slide, while it might be a challenge to see, the insert map shows where the city of York is located, and really want to highlight, not far from the city of York is a large operational area that we serve. Like I said, our corporate headquarters is located in Mechanicsburg. We have a large operations in Mechanicsburg. We have a large operations in Hershey, and we have a recently acquired system in Stilton. In that area alone, we have 4 water treatment plants, 3 wastewater treatment plants, and we serve over 150,000 customers in that area alone. Next slide, please. I'm going to turn over to Susan and talk about customers. But before I do, just wanted to highlight a couple of things. There are many ways to gauge and measure customer service performance and commitment. And we track, we monitor, there are surveys, there are metrics, there are areas and items that we are held to from a Public Utility Commission standpoint. But I always step back and look that it always comes back to, what actions do we take? What do we really do in regards to looking out for customers, being sensitive to customers, and helping them solve their needs? And I can't be prouder of the organization and our employees in how we've handled the COVID pandemic. Susan will go through some details in regards to what we did as the pandemic was hitting, what we did and continue to do as we're in the middle of this type of environment. So Susan, I'll turn over to you.
Thank you, Mike, and good afternoon. As Mike has said, Pennsylvania American Water wants to be a part of your community. And to support our customers during this difficult time, Pennsylvania American Water voluntarily placed a moratorium on shutoffs and late fees back in March of 2020. And we've extended that until April of 2021. The company also expanded our payment arrangements for residential and non-residential. We donated $165,000 to COVID-19 relief efforts in Pennsylvania, focusing specifically on food banks and meal programs in the communities we serve. On top of that, the American Water Charitable Foundation donated $100,000 to Feed America. Now, with regard to customer service, York customers would receive many benefits of American Water's top-notch customer service team. This includes 24/7 customer service for emergencies, because we know that wastewater emergencies don't keep to business hours. Our customers always expect excellent service, whether it be easy to understand bills, prompt handling of customer requests, or quick response to service outages or emergencies. We also offer a newly redesigned customer and mobile-friendly website, online account management, emergency alert notifications, the ability to report emergencies online, 5 convenient bill payment options, and paperless billing. Plus, we continuously seek from our customers on ways we can make their experiences better. Next slide. Another way we continue to put our customers first is through the various assistance programs we offer to customers who may be struggling to pay their bills. We have an H2O Help to Others program, and that provides grants of up to $500 per year on a customer's wastewater bill, as well as a 20% discount on a customer's total monthly wastewater charge. Eligibility for these programs is determined by household income, but even if you do not meet the income criteria, we offer payment arrangements to extend the time a customer has to pay a past due bill, and budget billing to provide predictable monthly payment amounts. I'll now pass it back to Mike for some additional comments. Mike?
Thank you, Susan. One thing I'd like to comment before we move to the next slide would be that we are well aware that there are questions and concerns about future rates with the city of York. And I just want to, you heard it earlier in what our proposal is in regards to acquiring this system, and just want to reaffirm that if our proposal is approved, we will not be proposing any rate case or rate increases for 3 years after closing for the city of York. And when it comes to a regulated environment, again, there was some discussion earlier about what that process would be. I want to go into just a little more detail that the protections you have. Pennsylvania American Water, and in fact, any regulated utility does not set, we don't set our own rates. When a rate adjustment is proposed, there's a very lengthy process where there are very detailed and reporting requirements. We have the burden to show that we've been prudent in our investment, in our spend. We have to show that we are operating the system efficiently. And in that process, there are interveners that the Office of Consumer Advocate, Small Business Advocate, they're a part of this lengthy process. And each and every customer is involved in the process. There are hearings, there are open sessions to get input. So again, at the end of the day, the commission then will set the rates when it comes to providing wastewater service to our customers. Next slide. We also like to invest in communities in regards to how do we build relationships and become more embedded or a part of the community. And I just want to call out a couple of examples. Environmental grant program. Since that started, we've contributed over $530,000 to fund 100 projects around protecting the watershed and the environment. Last year alone, we gave out grants to both fire departments and emergency response agencies over $140,000 as those groups were struggling financially in a COVID environment. And what we also do is we have scholarships available to high school seniors that have an interest in entering our industry. And we also, before COVID, and it will start right back up after COVID, is we truly believe in an open door policy. And what I mean by that is we want to be visible in the community. We have tours, we have summer camps, because we think it's very, very important for the community and our customers to understand what we do and how we do it. Next slide, please. We're also very, very focused in supporting labor and local businesses. American Water across the United States, we value our relationship with the Teamsters and other local organizations. We have over 3,100 unionized employees across the United States, representing 15 different unions. In Pennsylvania alone, we have 650 unionized employees represented by 7 different unions. And what I'd suggest is for union leadership, union members, reach out to your fellow union members in systems and areas where we've recently acquired those systems, and have a discussion. Have them talk you through what they experienced. And I would presume and would bet that you'll hear a very positive outcome and story. We also support local businesses. And I'm happy to report that over the past 3 years, we have spent $28 million with vendors and contractors that are out of, or they're headquartered in the city of York. And I really anticipate that growing once we acquire the system and complete the sale. We're also focused on supplier diversity. As you can see, we have multiple awards in regards to being military friendly, diversity and inclusion, and we continue to strive to get better in those areas. Next slide, please. To wrap things up, I simply want to say, our goals are your goals from a community standpoint. We have a basic fundamental belief that we are a solution provider. And what drives and motivates us is we are convinced, and we've seen it, that when communities that we are a part of are successful, we are successful. So that is going to be our goal. You will hear a lot about the journey and developing relationships and partnerships. That's how we operate. That's again the fundamental philosophical approach to Pennsylvania American Water in regards to working with communities that we are a part of. We also know that there are high expectations. We know that our customers demand safe, reliable service. We will do that. We also understand that the expectation is to be good, responsible employers. We will do that. We have a high focus on safety, training, workforce development. There are opportunities for those that want to advance their career throughout Pennsylvania American and American Water. So we're highly focused on that piece of it. We are also, again, focused on building relationships. What you will see once the APA is signed, we will start reaching out to large customers to make those introductions, to give them one point of contact. One example of a great success story, we recently closed on the acquisition of Stilton, and within a month or two, we met with the management team and identified some issues and struggles regarding metering and other challenges that we were able to help them solve. That's what we do. We will also be reaching out to those neighboring municipalities that we will be serving. Again, very, very important to build a positive relationship and a great working relationship with those areas. We know the environment's important. We also understand that there are some challenges associated with the system. We will be committing and deploying capital to address those issues. You heard some discussion earlier about some I&I challenges in other systems. We will be addressing that. The importance of the Chesapeake Bay watershed is very, very important, and we accept that responsibility to make sure we are a steward of that environment. When you look back at our history in regards to investing in infrastructure, over the past 13 years, Pennsylvania American Water has invested over $3 billion of capital to upgrade infrastructure. Last year alone, we topped over $400 million upgrading infrastructure. And as said earlier, the value of selecting us, the largest water and wastewater utility in Pennsylvania, is we're able to spread those costs throughout a larger customer base than a single smaller system dealing with a significant capital need being deployed over a smaller customer base. We also know that you expect and we support economic development. That is why, from an infrastructure standpoint, we play a role in that. Whether it's roads, bridges, power systems, water, wastewater, we need to be partnering together to make sure we have a strong environment so economic development is thriving in York. And at the end of the day, we simply have a proven track record of being a good community partner, and we will continue to do that. In closing, I'd like to, those of you that have joined today, I'd like for I'd like to point you to a couple of small videos that we have out on our YouTube site. It's the Pennsylvania American Water YouTube channel. And one is a video associated with acquisitions. And it is becoming a part of the Pennsylvania American Water family that really has a very, very transparent and open story of employees that have recently gone through acquisitions with us and what that outcome is. I know and we understand that if you're an employee sitting there listening, you're thinking, hey, there are a lot of unknowns. What is going to happen? That video will kind of help and communicate what that process will be. Another video is regarding the city of McKeesport. We began a partnership with them a few years ago that really turned that city around. And there's a video there with the mayor kind of highlighting what McKeesport was able to do with this journey and this partnership that we're about to embark on here at York. And I know it'll happen here as well. So again, thank you for your time. Appreciate you listening and looking forward to, again, becoming a part of the community and building those relationships. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike and Susan, for your presentation today. Now we'll open up to our public comment section of this meeting. Looking through the number of participants that we do have today, we want to kind of limit the question to like 3 minutes so we can hear everyone today. So if we can get that started, but beforehand, if you're using a phone and not on the Zoom app, please hit *9 to raise your hand for a question so that you can be seen on our end. And if not, you can just raise your hand on the Zoom if you are operating on the app. So now we'll go ahead and open up for public comment. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Tony, you can go ahead and unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name's Tony Rife. I'm the president at the Casket Group here in York, Pennsylvania. We're currently a customer of York City Water. Our company's been in the city since 1986. We currently have 40 employees here at the Casket Group, so that's a little bit about us. Just want to make a statement about Pennsylvania American Water. We started a vendor relationship with them back in 1999, so long-term customer for us. Today, they're our 8th largest customer. They spend $133,000 with us in 2020 on print and mail communications. We print and mail consumer reports, doorknob hangers, leak detection kits, community event mailings, and rate increase mailings for them. One thing I just wanted to state about Pennsylvania American Water is they are a wonderful customer for us, and they've been that way for the past 20 years. pay their bills on time. All the employees have been really great to work with. Great ethics from the standpoint of vendor customer relationships. It's just been a great relationship for us. One thing I noticed about them is the loyalty the employees have within the organization. It's such a rare thing today, but back in when I started working with them in '99, I'm still working with the exact same people. And today, 20 years later, and you just don't see that today. I think it's quite a testament for them. And I just wanted to get on and just let you know, I would highly recommend Pennsylvania American Water Company for any association or any business because of the past relationship that we have with them and the respect that I have for them. So I just wanted to give you a statement today. It's interesting that we are a customer here in the city and we are a vendor to PA Water. And I just wanted to come on and make a statement for them.
Thank you, Tony.
Chaz, I just wanted to jump in real quick. As this is Philip Given from the city of York. As we answer some of the questions, we have some other folks on as panelists. We have Tom Ray, who is our business administrator. We have Jason Sable, who is the solicitor for the city of York. And then we do have some representatives from McNeese Wallace who are working with us on this project. So depending on what questions are asked, they may jump in.
Thank you, Philip.
Okay, next up we have Kelly. Kelly, you may unmute your mic and go ahead and speak.
All right, how are you doing, Kelly?
Are you there, Kelly?
Kelly, I don't believe we can hear you. I don't know if your phone or device is muted. Cliff, does it look like we have anybody else with?
We do not. No, that would be it. Kelly, you can try calling in using your phone. Zoom should provide a number for you to call in or maybe disconnect and try reconnecting. But it looks like you are not muted, but we're not hearing you.
Chaz, maybe we can reiterate the email address and obviously what else we have coming up. We'll see if Kelly can get reconnected here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So if you do have any questions that you think of when we are finished this Zoom meeting, one, we'll be having another meeting at 6 p.m. this evening. We'll be on the same Zoom link. And also we can be reached at wastewatercell@yorkcity.org for any questions. And once again, as we get those questions, we would do a FAQ, and we will have it on our front page of the city website as well for you to review. So, is there any other questions?
No.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't look like anybody has their hand raised. So if Kelly or a representative with Kelly wants to join for the 6 p.m. or of course, submit via the email address.
All right. Well, I would like to say thank you for everyone for joining us today.
Hey, Chaz, can you, I'm sorry, this is Mayor Helfrich. I'm joining from on vacation. How's everybody doing? But we did have another person who was trying to get through and having some technical difficulties. So if we could just hang in for a minute or two, that would be great.
Okay, no problem.
And if there's anyone that has technical difficulties, feel free to email that question in between now and 6 p.m. It's wastewatersale@yorkcity.org. If you can't remember that, my email address is pgiven, P-G-I-V-E-N @yorkcity.org. And any questions that we get between now and then, Chaz, we can just bring to the floor at 6.
That sounds good.
Okay, we have some. Oh, Don, you put your hand up, but then it just went away. Would you like to speak, Don? There he is. Okay, I'm putting Don through. Go ahead and unmute.
All right. Hey, Don, how are you?
Now, how do I unmute?
You're good, Don. We can hear you.
Everyone can hear me?
Yes,
I
sir.
have a couple of comments. I've sat here now for an hour and 40 minutes and listened to the dialogue. My first question is, how large is the attending viewership? Can you determine that? If I'm the only one watching, I want to tell you that this format is not user-friendly. What is the exact purpose of this meeting? And at this point in time, can the sale still be aborted or modified? And if not, then this is strictly a PR meeting. Is that correct?
So I'll hop in on the viewership, Mr. Hake. It looks like we have 45 attending on the Zoom directly, and then we are live on Facebook and live on WRCT, the television station, and of course accepting those comments digitally. Chaz, I don't know if you wanted to toss to Solicitor Sable for anything else there.
Actually was going to actually pass along to Jason if he can follow up and answer his question.
Well, I have a couple of comments that I'd like to make. Number one is that the sale of the sewage treatment plant means that we're moving from a nonprofit, government-owned facility to a for-profit. And the organization that we're talking about is huge, very large. One of their largest investors, directly or indirectly, is the largest bank of Canada. So now our monies would be flowing from the York community, basically, into Canada. And in addition, if we're moving from a nonprofit to a profit, there's a profit built in. I am very interested in knowing exactly why there is an interest in acquiring our sewage treatment plant. A for-profit organization is dedicated to making a profit and distributing that in dividends. Is that not true? I've heard all these purportments about great service and great relationships, and those are easily said. We have yet to see that. So I have a great deal of skepticism about this. Is this a transaction that the public can indeed abort? And if not, what are we doing here?
All right. Jason, would you mind?
Yeah, I can tackle the beginning of that, and then Mike Dorn, I'll probably throw the second half to you about the questions that are more directed at PA American. But yeah, I mean, the purpose of the session, to answer your questions, the first part is this deal has not been accepted by City Council yet. We did budget for it. Our 2021 budget is based upon considering the revenues that this sale would bring in, but the sale has not actually been consummated, if you will, by City Council. The purpose of this session is to get the public involved, hear from the public, let them know what process we've gone through, where we started this process over a year ago, the multiple steps of the RFP, the proposals that we received, the thought that went into considering those proposals, just to make sure there's a lot of transparency, to make sure the public is aware of all the steps that have led to this point. And we wanted to have an opportunity for PA American to talk to the public and let the public know where they're coming from and why they're excited about this deal. So with that, I'll kick it over to Mike.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate the question. And what I would say is that there is value in scope and scale. Pennsylvania American Water, true, is part of American Water, but when you think of the ability to draw from a larger organization, that is a very, very positive and a valuable type of relationship, whether it be from expertise when we have challenges, when we go through our supply chain process, and it really drives and holds costs down. When you look at Pennsylvania American Water, while we are the largest water and wastewater utility in Pennsylvania, everything is decided in Pennsylvania. We have, like I said, our corporate headquarters. It's within 25, 30 miles from York. We live here, we work here. And in regards to why, it's number one, we are, like I said earlier, we believe that we bring solutions to communities with challenges. And those challenges vary, but we want to be a part of that. And then because of our size and area where we are, we're able to drive operational efficiencies in regards to holding costs down. So we believe at the end of the day, the decision to bring Pennsylvania American Water in brings a value to not only customers, but the community, and it's the right thing to do.
If I might comment on that, the sensitivity to the customer that I've experienced in the large growth and the economies of scale with the gas, electric, and telephone haven't been very, very pleasing to me. They may have reduced costs, but where did the benefits go? To me, not as an individual consumer. I'm very concerned about a profit-driven company and why you would pay the large amount that you were willing to pay for our sewage treatment plant. There's a great deal of suspicion there.
Okay.
Guys, I just want to add one quick comment there just to clarify that I understand the comments with customer service, and one part of the proposal is that there will be an in-person customer service center as part of the transaction. So there will always be a physical customer service location in the city of York. Customers will not have to rely on just calling some customer service center in some far away flung location. So PA American has committed to preserve physical customer service operations in the city of York.
Okay, next up, we're going to go back to Kelly. Kelly, you can go ahead and unmute, and hopefully your mic is working.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. I've yet to have one of these meetings where you haven't had some kind of technical difficulty. I'd just like to make a quick statement. My name is Kelly Kelch, and I'm the Township Manager of West Manchester Township and the Chief Information Officer for the York Area Regional Sewer Authority. Also viewing today is Tim James, the Manager of Manchester Township and the Chairman of the Regional Sewer Authority, along with other various municipal representatives. The authority consists of 5 municipalities, the townships of West Manchester, Manchester, York, Spring Garden, as well as North York Borough. The authority has invested nearly $80 million over the last 22 years to maintain and upgrade the wastewater treatment plant, and was specifically created for the sole purpose of investigating and acquiring the plant. We appreciate the opportunity to be here today, but we were also extremely disappointed that our previous request to meet with the mayor and the city council went unanswered. The authority believes that the sale of the wastewater treatment plant to PA American will eventually result in increased rates for city residents and businesses, and believe that a sale to the York Area Regional Sewer Authority is in the best interest of the community. The authority would provide local ownership and accountability while also providing heightened sensitivity to rate and annual increases. We also believe the authority can provide the financial assistance the city needs while maintaining a local voice for residents and businesses. On December 22nd, 2020, Mayor Helfrich stated the city needed $197 million from the sale of the sewer system to ensure its long-term financial security. Any money above that would be a bonus. As you're aware, the city stands to receive significantly more than that needed $197 million. This bonus money is paid by PA American Water, and while the purchase price seems exceedingly attractive, please remember it's the users of the sewer system that will be repaying this bonus in the form of increased rates. This is not in the best long-term financial interest and well-being for the residents and the businesses that utilize the wastewater treatment plant. The ideal sale would make the city financially stable while respecting the financial impact that this has on the city's residents and businesses. If the sale with PA American goes through, rates will significantly increase once this 3-year freeze is over. As noted in the past, we expect future rates requested by PA American to unfairly burden city residents, homeowners, and businesses. We have previously provided information and articles which demonstrate this point to the mayor and city council. However, we don't believe it's too late. There is a local option that would provide the needed financial assistance and security to the city and be sensitive to the future rate increases for residents and businesses. Even national syndicates such as Boeing and Scattergood recognize that local control provides the best alternative. We strongly believe that a local authority is the best option for our community, and we encourage the city to explore the sale of the treatment plant to the Regional Sewer Authority while pursuing a local investor to purchase the collection system. The authority has received confirmation from an underwriter that is willing and able to provide the financing to the authority to proceed with the purchase, and we would provide an accelerated time schedule in order to do this. Once again, we urge the city to explore all options prior to making this important decision and eagerly await the opportunity to meet with city officials so we can further discuss what the authority feels is the best option for all residences and businesses impacted by this sale. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. All right, Cliff, do we have anyone else?
Nope, that's it currently.
All right. Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for joining us on this meeting today. We will be back on today at 6 p.m. with the same Zoom. And also, if there's any questions that come up before then, please make sure you email us at wastewatersale@yorkcity.org. Thanks a lot. Take care.